You're listening to Any Action Sportscast. Any Action Sportscast. So put your headphones on and let's take this podcast to the next level.
This isn't a podcast. It's a sportscast.
Welcome back to the number one sportscast in the world, where we give full card predictions and a betting breakdown. Make sure you guys smash that like button. If you're new to the channel, subscribe. Turn on those post notifications and share this video as well. UFC 307, Pereira vs. Rountree Jr. I'm looking forward to breaking down this card. But before we do that, let's go ahead and recap UFC Paris along with our picks.
And boy, oh boy, Martin, we got taken behind the woodshed at UFC Paris. Great card, great fights, but our bets got destroyed. Let's give a shout out to Money Moicano, man. That guy put a beating on BSD. Obviously, our biggest bet of the week loses. We had Joanderson Brito losing to William Gomez, but we did hit some crazy props, man. We hit some fights go to split decisions at plus 300. We hit Eileen Perez to get a submission at plus 1200. So those bets really put us in the green and got us even, but man, those big bets suck to lose. But credit to Moicano, man. That guy put in work on BSD's face, man. But yeah, I'm super excited to talk about UFC 307, Martin. I will be at the fights, the third straight time I've been to Salt Lake for these fights, and hey man, the last two have ended in vicious head kick knockouts. So who knows, we might get a third one this week. But I'm super pumped for these fights. We got 12 fights to talk about, some bangers, a lot of close fights, a lot of live underdogs, and I'm ready to get to it, bro.
Any action, sportscast. Any action. Opening up the card, we have Tim the Dirty Bird Mean. He's a moderate favorite at some books at a minus 230. 40 years old, 6'2" with a 75-inch reach. And he's taking on Court the Crusher McGee, a slight underdog in some books at a plus 190. 39 years old, 5'11" with a 75.5-inch reach. Effie.
Yeah, fun fight to start the night, and a little bit of a theme going forward on the rest of the card. I'm picking the underdog in this one. I'm going with Court McGee to win this fight. Now, granted, I'm not going to go out there and lay money on this fight because it is a little bit risky. For the most part, I do think that these guys match up pretty evenly, man. I am surprised that Tim Means is minus 230 in this fight. I thought it'd be closer around minus 150 at most, minus 165 maybe. But I do give, Court McGee the grappling upside, man. I like his wrestling. I like his grappling, his top control in this fight. On the feet, though, we got to be honest, Martin. Tim Means probably is a better striker, and he probably does have the ability to change the fight on the feet more so than Court McGee. But Court McGee is from Utah. He trains at elevation. I do expect his gas tank to be there for all three rounds. And in a close fight like this, I don't really see one guy separating themselves, a ton. Both guys are up there in age, obviously past the prime. Both guys, durability isn't the best, a little bit chinny, quote unquote. But I'm going with the underdog, man. I'm going with Court McGee. I just don't want to lay 2-1 odds on Tim Means, even though I do respect him in this fight. Going with Court McGee via decision. Underdog pick to start the card, bro. What about you?
Effie, do me a favor.
What's up?
I need you to come over here and stick your hand in my mouth, because you took the words out of my mouth. You took the words out of my mouth. It's Court McGee or pass on this one for me.
Oh, yeah, hell yeah, let's go.
Any action, sportscast. Any action. Next up on the card, we have Ovince St. Preux. He's 41 years old. He's 6'3" with an 80-inch reach. He's taking on Ryan Superman Spann, a moderate favorite at some books at a minus 340. 33 years old, 6'5" with a 79-inch reach. Effie.
Now, oh my goodness, that line shocks me. I'm going with Ryan Spann to win this fight. For the sake of the show, I'm picking Ryan Spann to win this fight. But we're talking about minus 300 on Ryan Spann. Man, that's a type of fighter you don't want to lay huge odds on, bro. He is super unreliable. He's super chinny. He doesn't have the best grappling defense. And I do worry if he shoots a sloppy takedown in this fight, Owens can catch him in a choke here, man, in a front headlock series or something, get him down. He's famous for his St. Preux, or what's it called, Von Flue choke. Man, though, Ovince St. Preux, I mean, like Martin was joking in the beginning, he's super old, getting up there in age, cashed as a big underdog in his last fight, where he looked like he turned back the clock, man. If you just watch his last fight, OSP's last fight, he looked good. You can't deny that fact that he had a ton of volume, he looked sharp, he had a lot of good forward pressure, and he wasn't timid by the better, longer, taller striker in Njoku. I think that if OSP cashes again as a big underdog, that would surprise me because I do expect him to fall off here at elevation against Ryan Spann. But like I said earlier, Martin, Ryan Spann is just not someone I want to be laying 3-1 odds to win a fight in the UFC at this point in his career. I'm going with the young guy, Ryan Spann, in this fight. I wouldn't be shocked if he finishes OSP in this fight. But if this fight gets extended, man, I think it's going to be going OSP's way. I will be in attendance for the fights, like I said earlier. So if anything, I'm just hoping someone gets finished in this fight. My favorite bet for this fight is a fight doesn't go the distance, someone to get finished in this fight. But for the sake of the show, Martin, I'm picking Ryan Spann to win via second round knockout. What about you?
Oh, before I get my pick, are you gonna say anything about the change of the seasons?
No.
It's underdog season, boy, and I'm going with Vince St. Preux, baby. I think the more experienced fighter and it being 3 rounds is gonna favor my man OSP, and you should see him come out with a decision win.
Any action, sportscast. Any action.
Next up on the card, we have Carla, the Cookie Monster Esparza, a slight underdog in some books at a plus 150. She's 36 years old, 5'1" with a 63-inch reach, and she's taking on Tisha, the Tiny Tornado Pennington, a slight favorite in some books at a minus 180. 35 years old, 5'1" with a 61-inch reach. FE.
Yeah, man, super easy fight to break down in this fight. We have Carla Esparza, multiple red flags going into this fight. You know, we have the outside the octagon stuff. She's taken a huge long break, hasn't fought in 2 years, Martin. She started a family, became a mother, got married, and now she's coming back into the octagon after not fighting in 2 years and having one of the worst title fights in UFC history against Rose Namajunas, where she won via decision. That was a 5-round fight. Now this time it's a 3-round fight, and we all know what she wants to do in this fight, man. Carla needs to wrestle in this fight. She needs to get Tisha Torres down and hold her down, because if she doesn't, man, on the feet, I really like Tisha striking way more than Carla Esparza in this fight. Well, the thing I really like about Tisha in this fight is her footwork. I do like her speed in this fight. I do think she's gonna mark up Carla Esparza in this fight, but my best bets are fight goes to split decision, Tisha Torres money line, and Tisha Torres to win via decision in this fight. Because I gotta be honest, man, Carla Esparza's last fight, regardless of the 2-year layoff, was so bad, was so boring. Man, I went outside to smoke a cigarette, Martin, and I don't even smoke cigarettes, bro. Getting cancer was a better option than watching this woman fight. So when I'm at the arena, I will be in line trying to get some nachos, trying to get some beer during this fight. But I'm going with Tisha Torres to win this fight via decision, and I'm looking at that fight to end up in split prop. What about you?
Well, I don't know where you're from, but where I'm from, we don't fear no tiny tornadoes.
Oh, okay, here we go.
I'm going with the Cookie Monster on this one.
Any action, sportscast. Any action.
Next up on the card, we have Alexander the Great Ape Hernandez. He's 32 years old. Some books opening up at a minus 170. 5'9" with a 72-inch reach. And he's taking on Austin Thud Hubert.
That's insane.
It's Hubbard?
It's Hubbard.
Okay, it's Hubbard. Hubbard. It's because you have a cue card that says Hubert. And he's taking on Austin Thud Hubbard. He's 32 years old. Some books opening up at a plus 140. 5'10" with a 71-inch reach. FE.
Man, this fight is hard to pick, Martin, because I think that Alex Hernandez is what we call a front runner. He starts the fight out really good a lot of times, and then he fades as the fight goes. And it's weird, man, because he's a skilled fighter. I do think he's skilled in striking. I do think he has power on the feet. I think he has okay grappling. He's not horrible in any one specific area in MMA. He just can't put it all together, man. This guy's definitely fallen on some hard times. 1-4, I believe, in his last 5 fights. Both these guys, actually, I wouldn't be shocked to see them not in the UFC a year from now, man. These guys are fighting for their jobs. I expect a lot of desperation, a lot of, forward activity in this fight, a lot of forward pressure in this fight. But like I said, man, I can see Alex winning that first round and then fading as this fight goes. Austin Hubbard is a savvy veteran, man. He fights at range very well. Good striking, good distance management, and good grappling, man. He's competent on the ground as well. But I am going to go with Alex Hernandez in this fight. I will say, Martin, Alex is going through a little bit of drama in his gym. His gym, Factory X, kind of blew up, man. Everyone's leaving every different area. They're all going to different gyms. I don't know what the story is. I don't know what the drama is. So I don't know how his camp was in preparation for for this fight, and on top of that, it was thrown on this card last minute. I believe it was about 2 weeks out from the card. They threw this fight on there, and who knows, maybe he was training for a fight and then got thrown into this one, but I'm not sure, man. So there's a lot of question marks going into this fight that I just can't feel confident picking one side or another. I can't see a world where Austin Hubbard wins this fight via decision, but for me, for the show, for my pick, I'm picking Alexander Hernandez to win this fight via decision, taking rounds 1 and rounds 2. What about you?
Like you, I really couldn't make up my mind. So maybe this poem can help. With a mighty roar, the great ape swings high, turning the thud's tremors into a lullaby.
Next up on the card, we have Ihor Duelis Pereira. He's a moderate underdog at some books at a plus 310. 28 years old, 6'3" with a 75-inch reach. And he's taking on Cesar Cecina Almeida. He's 36 years old, 6'1" with a 74-inch reach. FE.
Huge line on Cesar Almeida in this fight. Massive favorite, and I am picking him. I am leaning towards him winning this fight, and he honestly probably does get a finish in this fight. But the facts are the facts, Martin. I understand. Everyone wants to talk about, oh, he's beating Alex Pereira in kickboxing back in the day. But the facts are he's had 6 professional MMA fights. And if you watch his last fight, it's evident that he is not the best grappler, man. If anyone were to watch tape on this guy, it's clear. Deadly striker, quick striking, really quick bodies, knees to the body, kicks to the body. He can mix it up head, body, low. I mean, this guy is legit on the feet. He is very dangerous on the feet. So what should you do? You should obviously grapple this guy, put him down on the mat, and from there try to work him. Because on the feet, man, Cesar is live to knock you out at any moment of the fight. And that's what I think is going to happen, man. I think that Cesar Almeida at one point does catch Ihor in this fight. And Ihor would just be so dumb to not at least attempt to grapple in this fight. Ihor on his own right does not have the best striking, man. He reminds me of Dricus du Plessis, just very sloppy, very wide with his shots. I feel like Cesar's going to be able to land quicker to the punch than Ihor in this fight. I'm expecting a finish in this fight regardless of who it comes from, but for me, I'm going with Cesar Almeida to get that knockout in the second round, and I know that Martin also is leaning towards Cesar knockout as well.
Any action, sportscast. Any action.
Next up on the card, we have Marina Rodriguez, a slight underdog at some books at a plus 145. 37 years old, 5'6" with a 65-inch reach. And she's taking on Yasmin Lucindo, a slight favorite at a minus 175. 22 years old, 5'3" with a 66-inch reach. F to the E.
I'm actually super excited for this fight, Martin. Gonna be a banger. I expect both these fighters to stay at range on their feet. If either fighter were to grapple, I do expect it to be Yasmin in this fight. Marina has shown some decent takedown defense in her UFC career, but once she does get on the mat, she doesn't have the best get-ups, and I feel like she will get pinned in this fight if she does end up on bottom. But on the other hand, Yasmin's more of like an unproven prospect. Yeah, I do respect her ability. I do like her stand-up in general as a fighter. But man, Marina's fought way higher level of competition, has beaten way higher level of competition. But bro, she's 37 years old and 15 years older than Yasmin Lucindo in this fight. I'm going to go with Yasmin Lucindo to win this fight via decision. I don't expect a finish in this fight, but another women's fight where a sprinkle on the split decision here isn't the craziest thing. I can see a judge, having it one way, another one having it the other way. I mean, at UFC Paris, Martin, we saw one of the worst judges scorecards of the year in a women's MMA fight. You just never know what these judges are going to be looking at. And I do expect this fight to be close, man. I think that typically if you have a young prospect who's 15 years younger than their opponent, the line's kind of blown out, right? Minus 200, minus 300. But this one's relatively close because I do respect, and the bookies do as well, Marina's skill set, man. She is dangerous on the feet. She can counter with the best of them, and she's long, man. So I've bet on Marina before. She's cast for us before. But for this fight, I am going to go with the younger fighter, Yasmin Lucindo, to win this fight via decision. What about you?
This fight's gonna be a banger, a pre-banger to the bangers. But I'm going with, because to me, the money's good for an underdog pick at a plus 145, and I think it can go decision to either person. So I don't know. I like Marina. Sometimes she's on her roll, and to me, she's just the bigger fighter, and I think she's gonna have that slight edge for it being 3 rounds. I think she could just put just enough of beating to get the decision.
Any action, Sportscast. Any action. Any action.
Opening up the main card, we have Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. He's a slight underdog at some books at a plus 160. 41 years old, 6 foot with a 75-inch reach. And he's taking on Joaquin New Mansa Buckley, a slight favorite at some books, a minus 190, 30 years old, 5'10" with a 76-inch reach. Effie.
Oh man, I am pumped for this fight. And I also have a 2-unit bet on this fight. I took Joaquin Buckley at minus 200, 2 units to win 1. That's $80 to win 40 for us. And I'm feeling confident, man. At the end of the day, I understand. Wonderboy can make this fight extremely close. On the feet, man, he is dangerous. He has the ability to get that leg kick up by your face, and like he'll throw a punch out, get your guard up, and then wrap that kick around your head relatively quickly, man. The speed's still there, man. I understand he's 41 years old, 11 years older, or might be more than Buckley in this fight. But I think the wheels have to fall off eventually. And the thing that I like about Buckley in this fight is that he went to Austin, Texas to visit B-Team for 3 weeks and did a part of his camp there. B-Team has some of the best grapplers in the United States and honestly around the world. And to me, that shows him, thinking about how he has to improve his game, man. He was on a podcast talking about how he was asked, what's your training week like? Striking to striking to striking. And the guy cut in and was like, hey, man, when do you grapple? Like, do you ever wrestle? And he was like, no, not really. And so now to know that he's going to a wrestling heavy gym, to get those rounds in, it really shows me that he's taking his career seriously, man. This guy is 1 or 2 wins away from being in the top 10, top 15. And I feel like he's going to get it done, man. Like I said, I do respect Wonderboy's ability to stay safe on the feet. He is quite, hard to hit. It kind of reminds me of the Kevin Holland and MVP fight, where MVP was just circling that movement, the lateral movement. The defense was just so good that Kevin Holland was just getting frustrated. He was chasing him the whole fight. I can see a scenario where that happens to Buckley in this fight and Wonderboy goes on to win a decision, but I don't think it's going to happen. I think Buckley mixes in the wrestling, has enough power on the feet to really hurt Wonderboy if he does land clean, but I'm expecting a grappling heavy game plan from Buckley, and for that reason, I laid 2 units to win 1 on him at minus 200. What about you, bro?
This is my lock of the night too, man. Dude, I'm going with Buckley, man. This is, oh my gosh, easy money. You put 2 units? Man, give me all my units. Give me all of it, man. I don't even have units. Where do I get units from, man? Where's my units, damn it?
Any action, Sportscast. Any action.
Kicking off the pay-per-view, we have Roman the Caucasian Dolidze taking on Kevin Trailblazer Holland. Roman comes in with a 13-3 record, currently sitting at a plus 145 underdog. He is 36 years old with a 6'2" in height and a 76-inch reach. He's fighting Kevin the Trailblazer Holland, who comes in with a 26-11 record, currently sitting at minus 170, who is 31 years old, 6'3", with an 81-inch reach. Martin.
Oh my gosh, boys, this fight should be a good one, and I'm going with Kevin Holland. But I'm going with Kevin Holland if it's the Kevin Holland that I need to show up. I need that Kevin Holland to outstrike him, the Kevin Holland that doesn't mess around but still showboats, enough to push his ego to be the Kevin Holland that we need to see to beat Roman. Don't get me wrong, guys. Roman's a good fighter. He's a good striker, and I think he can hang in there, and he's probably the heavier puncher, and if anything, can do more damage than Kevin. But so Kevin's going to need to do is keep at bay like his name is Michael, and he's going to have to outpace Roman. He's going to have to outstrike him. It's only 3 rounds. So if it's the Kevin Holland that I like, the OG Kevin Holland, I think Kevin Holland is a good pick in this one. Who you got?
I have 1.5 units on Roman the Caucasian Dolidze. I took him at plus 145 here in this fight, and I agree with some of your breakdown, man. I do think that he does have the more power, the more fight-changing ability on the feet, but I do agree with you as well. Kevin Holland has the volume, has the reach, has the striking to keep this guy at distance, and the big thing for me that I'm worried about is Kevin's speed. Kevin is really fast in the striking area here, and I do think he has a lateral movement to stay safe away from Roman, but man, I think Roman's gonna grapple in this fight, get him down, and hurt Kevin when he does. At plus money, underdog odds, I had to take a shot on the Caucasian Dolidze in this fight.
Any action, Sportscast. Any action.
Next up on the card, we have Kayla Harrison. Some books now at a minus 1,000. 34 years old, 5'8" with a 66-inch reach. And she's taking on Ketlin Fenomeno Vieira, a heavy underdog at a plus 550. 33 years old, 5'8" with a 68-inch reach. Effie.
Open and shut case, man. What are we doing in this fight? Obviously, the pick will be Kayla Harrison, but you gotta think about, how am I gonna gamble on this fight? We have minus 1,000 on her money line, and that's just not gonna do anything for your parlay. No one out here is laying minus, $1,000 to win $100. Like, that's just not happening. So I put on my tinfoil hat and I put on my Alex Jones hat, and I was thinking to myself, how does Kayla Harrison lose this fight? And honestly, Martin, it's gonna take her beating Ketlin up so bad in that first round, but not finishing her, and then getting tired in the second and third round. This fight will be at Salt Lake City in Elevation, and sure, man, I could see a world where Kayla gets tired from beating up Caitlyn so bad, you know what I mean? But in all reality, she's gonna head and arm throw this woman on her back, land some vicious elbows, and maybe even Caitlyn gives up her back on the way up and gets rear naked choked in this fight. To me, it's more about how will Kayla win, when will she win, maybe an over-under prop, because you just can't touch that money line. I think that Kayla, in my opinion, will get a submission in this fight. I do expect her to get this fight on the mat. I'm just really hoping she hits a sick Uchimata, a good head and arm throw. I love judo and women's MMA, really in MMA in general. I'll be at the fights and I'll be rooting hard for Kayla to throw this woman on her back. But ultimately, I'm going to go with Kayla Harrison via submission. I know that Martin also is leaning towards Kayla to win this fight, but I'm not too sure on his method of victory. You got any particular way she's going to win this fight, bro?
Oh, me? Yeah, I think she wins by third-degree battery. And the definition of third-degree battery is when a person purposely causes physical harm to another person, and that's what we're going to see October 5th. Effie, I think Kayla Harrison might be the first person 30 years from now to get Me Too'd for what she's going to do to Ketlin.
Any action, sportscast, any action.
So first up on the card, we have Jose Aldo. He's old. He's a slight underdog. His odds are old. He's years old. He's old, but he's old foot and old foot inch. Okay, his height is old. His reach is old. Okay.
Oh my God.
He's from an old place. He's old, and he's taking on a new person, someone very new. I like new. Very new guy named, his name is Mario. Let me tell you about this new guy named Mario Batista, okay? He's a slight favorite at a minus 175. He's 31 years old. That's pretty new. 5'9", okay? 69-inch reach. Effie.
Bro, I'm going with Aldo in this fight, man. I know you're clowning on him right there. He might be 45 for all we know, lying on that birth certificate. But no disrespect to Mario, man. I actually took Aldo's opponent his last fight. I think it was Jonathan Martinez, those leg kicks, man. And obviously we lost that, man. I'm done betting against Aldo. I bet on him when he fought Morale when I was at the fight, and he lost that fight. But this is a completely different style, man. I don't really see an area where Mario, should be like favorited. Like, what is he gonna outstrike Aldo? I don't think so. Is he gonna take down Aldo? I definitely don't think so. I think this is gonna be a 3-round war. I think that Aldo lands more damage. If anything, I will give Mario the volume edge. I do expect him to throw a little bit more than Aldo, but even that kind of works against him because Aldo has some of the best counter-striking we've ever seen in the UFC. He's really done well for himself at this point in his career at the new division in bantamweight. So yeah, man, until I see the oldness, taking place in the octagon, I gotta go with Aldo. I'm going with Aldo via decision. And yeah, man, I know we're clowning on him, but I'm pretty sure I know who you're gonna go with. What about you, bro?
I mean, look. I think you're suffering from a severe case of I don't want to let my idols go. Okay, look, don't get me wrong. Hulk Hogan he's the man, brother. I'd beat his right now. I would beat his ass.
In the co-main event, we have Raquel Rocky Pennington, a slight favorite at a minus 185. 36 years old, 5'7", with a 67.5-inch reach. And she's taking on Juliana, the one that should have never won a belt, Venezuela Vixen Pena, a slight underdog at a plus 150. 35 years old, 5'6" with a 69-inch reach. FB.
I'm never a fan of fighters sitting out for 2 years and then jumping right into a title shot. I don't care about the state of the division. I understand she was champion, got that crazy upset win over Nunez. But bro, she got brutally worked in that next fight against Amanda Nunes, where she righted the ship, corrected that fluke, and just dominated Juliana Pena, man. Juliana Pena wishes she could fight like Dricus du Plessis. Sloppy but effective. I mean, she's just sloppy. She's not effective. She's going to want to wrestle in this fight, and I believe that Rocky Pennington has the ability to keep this fight upright, keep it at range, and piece apart Juliana Pena because, bro, Martin, she strikes with that battering ram formation. She just leans her head forward and just swings from all the sides, bro, like a helicopter. It's a disgrace. It's a disgrace that Juliana Pena became a UFC champion and that she still can be a champion again. I can't wait for her to lose this fight. I can't wait for her to be out of the UFC. Martin, she has 0 wins over anyone on the current UFC roster. She's out here talking about how she's one of the greatest fighters we've ever seen. It's like, I can't get enough of this lady to see all the hate comments, bro. I hate this girl. But I do respect her grappling. I do understand that she does have some pretty decent grappling, but I just don't think she's going to be able to get down Rocky, and win 3 rounds in this fight. I'm going with Rocky Pennington and still to win this fight via decision. What about you, bro?
Oh, man, I don't know. I don't know, and I'm freaking out. Freaking out, man. Don't know. Your breakdown made it worse for me because I was like, I agree with you, but the opposite. Like, I think Pena is going to do it to Raquel. To decision. We're going to see a Juliana we've never seen. We're going to see the Juliana Pena that deserved to have the belt. I think she's going to slowly piece her up. I think she's going to have a nice boxing match, the best one we've ever seen her display.
Any action, sportscast. 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 Any action, sportscast.
In the main event of the evening, we have Alex Bohotan Pereira. He's a heavy favorite at a -455. 37 years old, 6'4" with an 80-inch reach. And he's taking on Khalil, the Warhorse Rountree Jr., a moderate underdog at a +350. 34 years old, 6'1" with a 76.5-inch reach. FE.
Now, I gotta say right away with my breakdown and pick, I am biased. I am a big fan of Khalil Rountree. He is friends with my brother. My brother sees him at concerts all the time here in Las Vegas. The night after he brutally slept Anthony Smith, he was at a hardcore show in the mosh pit throwing spinning head kicks, man. This guy is a local dude. He's at Syndicate MMA, who, by the way, just won a belt last pay-per-view. And he's coached by Martin and I's old high school buddy. So, obviously, I'm rooting for the guy. I'm rooting for the Syndicate fighter. I'm rooting for Khalil, hometown guy. But man, those odds are crazy, bro. -500 around that area, +400 for Khalil. Bro, like, Khalil winning by knockout, I know a lot of people are going to think I'm crazy. That's not the craziest outcome, man. He can land, man. He has a lot of power in his shots. He has good speed, good variety in strikes, and Alex is hittable, man. He does leave himself open to be hit at times, leaves his head on the center line, but he's just so scary, man. Getting past that wall, getting in that area, getting in that distance to land on him, man, people just can't do it because that left hook is the best in the business, bro. One of the best we've ever seen, man. This guy is vicious. Poatan, clearly the biggest star in the UFC, in my opinion, at this point, in the year, really in the UFC in general. But man, I'm not counting out Khalil. Like I said, I know I'm biased. I know, I'm rooting for the guy and everything, but just stylistically, this does make an interesting fight. I know a lot of people are complaining about Ankalaev not getting the title shot, but not me, man. I'm going to the fights. I'm going to see 2 pure strikers go at it. I'm going to be super happy when they do. I don't expect this fight to get extended. I think it ends within those first 3 rounds. I'm going with Khalil Rountree. Like I said, I'm biased. Via knockout, round 2 to shock the world. And I will say, guys, I picked Leon to beat Usman. He head kicked him in him in the last round. I picked Gaethje to beat Poirier. He head kicked him in that fight. If Khalil Rountree head kicks Alex Pereira, I will be mind blown, man. I will be super happy for him. Rooting for Coach, John Wood and then Syndicate guys over there. But man, it's gonna be a tough fight, no doubt. Alex Pereira has that forward pressure. I really like his low leg kicks. I think he's going to be using them a lot in this fight. And bro, Alex's IQ is just next level in my opinion. He's mixing in the grappling with Glover Teixeira. I wouldn't be shocked at all to see one of these two fighters mix in some grappling, just due to the fact that they're going to be in the fire, man. They're going to be, throwing heavy shots and just, wanting to get out of it, wanting to be safe for a little bit and, shoot on a guy's hips. It wouldn't shock me. But ultimately, I'm going with Khalil Rountree to win this fight, get the huge upset, one of the biggest ones in my opinion in UFC history, and continuing that winning streak, man. This guy is dangerous on the feet. He has my respect. He is a live underdog in my opinion. And I'm rooting for him, bro. So let's go Khalil. Let's go Syndicate. I'm going with new second round knockout, Khalil Rountree. And I'm happy to report that my boy, the underdog whisperer, producer Martin, is leaning towards Khalil as well. Not an official bet for him, not an official pick, but he says if there's a type of fighter you want at plus 400, Khalil is the type of dude. So let's get this money, Khalil. Thanks for watching, guys. That'll wrap up the show. A super fun one for us this week. And I'm going to be at the fights, guys. If you see me with my Any Action shirt on, say what up. Come through. We'll kick it. But yeah, man, super pumped. Thanks for watching, guys. And I will say, we have located our winner of the UFC No Shade Cup giveaway. That will be coming to you soon. So shout out to all you guys commenting in the comments. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. And we'll see y'all next week. Peace.
Sportscast. I'm your producer Martin, joined by your local